Well, welcome to another week of our services. This week we've been journeying through the story in Mark, we've been journeying through the last week, and now we come to the last couple of days, last few hours before Jesus was arrested, tried and killed. And so what we want to do in this week as we reflect on that is pick out a few themes, and we'll be talking to different people about stories they have that link with this. We're starting today in Mark 14, looking at the Last Supper. Now for Jesus it was so important to get together with friends, to get together with one another and eat together. So we're going to see about the importance of that today still, as we'll be talking to Reuben and Jen about what that means for them. But as we start today and as we go into a time of worship, let me just pray. So Father, we just pray today as we come into this week where we remember what you've done for us. May we reflect on you. May we learn lessons from those last hours, lessons that can build us up and teach us. Be with us now as we worship together. Amen. Well, hello, Reuben and Jen. How's life for you guys at the moment?
It's okay. I'm finding it very full on in some respects, but also quite laid back, and that we've not got anywhere to go in the other respects. So it's a bit of a mix, but trying to do childcare and work at the same time is interesting. But I just feel fortunate that my work very accommodating in that respect.
Yeah, so you're both still working. So where are you working from at the moment, both of you?
I am on days that I don't need to do childcare. I'm in my office, and on days I do, I'm kind of checking emails on my phone when I can. But as I say, work are being very accommodating, so that's quite good.
No, I'm still working at the hospital as a nurse at the hospital, but I'm really enjoying actually like a slowed down version of life, and it's a bit more easygoing and less rushing around and feeling guilty if I'm not out the door with the boys by 9:15. So
yeah
I'm quite enjoying it.
Yeah, managing to adapt to the new rhythms and such. Well, today our theme that we're going to be looking at is around the Lord's Supper, that last meal that he had with his disciples. And I know you two help lead one of our groups that meets normally in homes during the week. You recently did something different with that group. Do you want to say a bit about what you did?
Yeah, so over the summer, I think me and Jen and a couple of others kind of really felt it would be good to kind of really grow our relationship. So we decided to take a bit more time every week, meet a bit earlier, and actually eat together every week.
Yeah, and so how's that gone since you introduced it? Has anything changed or?
Yeah, it's actually gone really well. So we take it in turns to cook, don't we? Between the groups, so people use our kitchen or cook at home and bring a meal. And I definitely feel like you get to see a little bit more of each other's lives and actually genuinely get to know how people are doing more each week to week. And things like, we started it on a Thursday night with the hope really that it would develop into something that would happen naturally on other days, that we would see more of people, that we would spend more time hanging out as a group. And actually we've recently just got back from our growth group weekend away. Like, we had a little holiday away together, which was really good to spend some more time together as well.
I think it's interesting actually that I think for us, it's letting people into almost probably the craziest part of our day, trying to get the boys into bed. A bit manic, but I think people are used to that now. And actually the boys, Zeph, every Thursday when I pick him up from nursery, it's the people coming for dinner or people coming for dinner. And he's really excited by it, which is nice as well. But actually, I feel like showing that kind of time of our day that can be quite stressful sometimes when they don't want to get ready for bed. And opening that up ourselves hopefully kind of makes others feel more comfortable that they can be more open and say we just want to, it sounds a bit cliched, but we want to do life together, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I know that was a big reason behind it, like being involved in more in one another's lives. Why is that so important, do you think?
So for me, I'm not a particularly private person, but also being open or being a little bit more honest about things that maybe aren't going as well in life takes a lot more effort for me. So even on occasions when I am like more open, that is a huge effort behind that maybe people don't realise. And we had a bit of a reflect, didn't we, like during the summer. And I suppose, sometimes something quite big in our life can be happening, and you can see people every week at church or every week at a growth group, and you feel like you sort of go and you attend and you tick that box for the week, but you maybe don't really give much of like yourself in terms of how you're actually really feeling or coping. And that was definitely, like, for me on a personal level, like I had an experience where something really big was happening, but I'd go along to groups every week and people would genuinely be none the wiser. And actually, when you spend time with people round a table and actually sharing your lives together, there's less escaping that, because people, they see the good, the bad and the ugly, and you can't really avoid it as much because it creates this friendship and this group mentality and group culture where, people would expect us to drop around and see how you're doing, or message more often to see how people are, so you feel more able and willing to share, I think.
Yeah, and I feel like we're able to and getting to the point more and more that we can support each other more on our journey, rather than just the night that we meet. Actually, it's an ongoing thing. But actually, kind of at dinner time, we try and chat about how people are doing, the good and the bad things of the week. And I just think it's really important to kind of eat together as a community, and have those conversations as to how people are doing.
Yeah. So I was thinking of the story that we're thinking of today, obviously this group of people, these disciples, they'd really got to know one another well. They lived with each other, they traveled with each other, they ate with each other all the time, and then they come for this special meal together. In that kind of what you're describing, almost the epitome of what you'd hope for, people really knowing about each other's lives. And in the midst of it, there's this thing of Jesus knowing that someone there is going to turn against him. And just, it's so hard to imagine how that would feel in that situation, isn't it? When you've built up that community.
Yeah, I think from a human perspective, people would struggle with that, wouldn't they?
And actually, if someone in your family lets you down or makes a mistake or betrays you, you know, you wouldn't just sort of toss them aside. And really, I suppose, like, that's what we want for our, like, Thursday night group in particular, but obviously, like, wider than that. But we would like to think that people can come and be vulnerable and be honest about mistakes or feelings, and we could see people at their rock bottom and they'd still feel accepted.
Yeah. So obviously we've talked about the importance of getting together and eating together, and that is obviously something we can't do at the moment. So what ways at the moment have you found maybe that you can connect with others in similar ways? What methods have you been able to use?
So we've done a couple of Zoom, so video call growth groups. So we're kind of still finding our feet with how that will work. We've tried to continue the Bible course that we were doing previously. We've not got around to kind of all eating dinner at the same time on that, but maybe we should. You never know. We did a worship night, which actually we didn't know how that would work. But actually, I think that went down really well. I certainly got a lot out of it.
So I tuned into that one in the car. So I had it on loudspeaker. I didn't touch my phone. My phone wasn't anywhere near me, but I could hear like the worship evening that was going on. And actually, it was really like special because I was driving home from work with that on loudspeaker, and I did really feel like, actually, despite the isolation, we are like one family, and it was really cool to know that everyone was in their own homes, but like we're still worshipping the same God. Like, I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and I feel like we know that within the group as well, we are all in different positions in this situation. And in some respects, I'm glad we started the meals when we did.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we know more about each other. We can be more open in this situation anyway.
I was just going to say, like, it's really good timing really with the meals, because I feel like from having such like a solid foundation now as a group, and then going into something like this, for those of us maybe that it does feel a little bit more difficult to be vulnerable and reach out and ask for help, or to say like that you're struggling and wave a bit of a flag to say that you're finding things difficult. Like, I feel more able to do that from having such a good foundation, from that like closeness that we developed from doing the meals.
Yeah.
Well, it is really good what's been done, and it will be great when we can get back to doing those sort of things. And I think people may appreciate it all the more when obviously we can get back and meeting and eating together with people. Well, we're going to have another song now, and then we're going to come back together for prayers.
Like me, I Lord has promised good to me. His word, my hope secures. He will my shield and portion be, as long as life endures. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace. When we've been dead 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've known and stayed to sing God's praise. And when we first begun, my chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace. Unending love, amazing grace.
Well, it's great to hear all that you have been doing. And as we said, it is a different time at the minute, and we still want to find ways to connect. So I wonder if I could ask you two just to pray for all of us at this time.
Yeah. Yes, Lord, I thank you that whatever situation we're in, you are with us, Lord. But also, I thank you that you know that we need community and interaction with other people as well, Lord. And I just pray that you can be with us all in finding out how we need to do that. I thank you for our own growth group, that we are able to do that. But I pray that you'll guide us as we find new ways and take that forward over the next few weeks. Amen.
Yeah, Father, we want to thank you that we have a relationship with you, and that despite all of these things we're having to do to be socially distant, that you are never far from us, God. And I pray for those people that maybe do feel isolated, or for those of us that maybe rely and depend on seeing people week to week and joining in with groups and meetings and social events. I pray that you would help us not to feel lonely, not to feel isolated, but that we'd still be able to reach out to those around us. And if that's a difficult thing for us to do, God, I pray that you would give us confidence to do that, that we would be able to reach out and ask for help, and that we would also be able to reach out to others to see how people are coping and how we might be able to help them in their situations, God. And thank you that in you we are all one body, that we are united by your love, God. Amen.
Amen.